Privet YouTube, Chef here, coming at you with my deck profile for YCS San Diego. I'd like to start off by apologizing for how late this is. In case you didn't know, I just moved to San Diego 3 days before the tournament. So the past couple weeks has been me getting used to San Diego, my job, spending time with my family, hitting up Disneyland. A lot of fun. Also a little bit of being lazy, not gonna lie. Lost a couple tries at this. Don't know how, but I did. And my laptop was also in the shop getting fixed for most of that time. But, enough about that. Let's hop into the deck profile for my first ever YCS. I finished 180th or 181st out of like 950. Did a lot better than I expected. I went 5-3. I played ABC Dracos, True Draco ABCs. I ran 2 of each piece because there's not a lot banishing them, so you don't have to worry about that. I ran 3 of gold and 3 of silver. They came in clutch a lot. I ran 6 to maximize the diagram play, so I have like the same number of gadgets and virtually the same number of diagrams. There is the set rotation. If you wanted to take one out, take out the silver. I would not go down to 4 because I never ever see the play with Dragonic Diagram when I have 4 of them. I just never do. That's my experience with it. 2 masterpieces. The second one actually came in to play this time, as opposed to my True Draco regional deck profile. I managed to True King's Return 1 back and then tributed it, and the True King's Return to get another pop and everything. And another pop and masterpiece as well. There was at least one instance where I had both of them on the field and I attacked for game with both. One was immune to Spell and Monster, one was immune to Trap and Monster. So yeah, second masterpiece actually did come in handy this time. Then we ran 7 hand traps, 3 snow, 3 ash, 1 maxi. Nothing special there, pretty standard. I didn't see ash a lot. There was one instance where I drew 2 of them in my hand, but didn't matter too much because the guy didn't actually activate anything that could be ashed. Ghost Ogre I saw a lot of though, and it was really good. Maxi, of course, putting in tons of work. I drew it quite a bit. But none of these hand traps were anywhere near as good as Gamma-Seal. So I decided to main deck my 2 Kaijus for this tournament. And I don't regret it one bit, because it hits the masterpiece, it hits the ABC Dragon Muster if they don't tag out, it hits the sleeper, it hits the Omega, which, as if you watched my regional deck profile, you know that first round at the regional, first ever regional, I got triple Omega. I got Omega 3 turns in a row, and each turn they managed to hit the ASL core out of my hand, and I was shuffling it and everything, and they still managed to get it every time, randomly. The guy was just as surprised as I was. And I ended up just not being able to do anything for 3 whole turns, and he's attacked me with Omega. And there was nothing I could do. But, it hits that so that they can't do that to you. And then it also hits whichever path Invoke takes, Mechaba or anything, or one of the others, like Crystal Wing. It outs that, if you're really desperate, you can out a Trickstar monster as well, But it put in constant work throughout the day. There was one funny part where an opponent actually tribute summoned for a kaiju. It was either Dogron or Shizukiru, but in order to attack over my masterpiece, because I'd used my pop to get rid of their other out. Outplayed. But MVP monster, definitely. Every time I saw it, I won. Every time. There wasn't a single time where I drew into Gameciel in which I lost. Or opened Gameciel, triple Union Hanger standard, triple Draconic Diagram standard, one set rotation without the brick. This card was the MVP of the deck in general, mostly because of my inability to draw Terraforming. I drew it once, and it got either ashed or drolled, I forget which. But it didn't matter too much because we were hard drawing our diagrams and unit hangers, and because they can't droll set rotation. So yeah. You side this out in the mirror and against True Dracos, obviously. Because you don't want to give the mirror either of these, and you don't want to give diagram to any of the decks that can use it, obviously. 2 Cosmic Cyclones. I switched out my Twin Twisters at the last second before the tournament started. I had decided I wanted to run Cosmic Cyclones a while in advance, but I didn't pick them up. I didn't have any way of getting them because of the move. But these were crazy all day. You don't really want Twin Twisters even though you have discard outlets, discards, because this discards them and because this pops them. And then on top of that, there's nothing currently that any one of the major decks plays that you want in the graveyard. If they have a set invocation, you want that banished. If they have True Draco spell and trap cards, you want them banished because they'll get their effects off if they're popped, and because they can also they can disciples them back if they're in the graveyard, and they also can be banished for Masterpiece's effect. So, better to just pay the 1,000 and banish it. Trickstar Reincarnation, it has the graveyard effect. You don't want it in the graveyard. The Spiral stuff has the graveyard effect. The Trap does. You don't want it in there, etc. Like every, Paleo, you don't want their trap monsters in the grave either. Better to just banish them. It was really solid all day. I kept banishing Scales with it. It was great. Oh yeah, and Pendulum Magician can bring back their their spellcasters in the grave, but destroying it with Twin Twisters doesn't do that. But their Oath Dragon will bring back their stuff as well. Yeah. So now the side, I had 2 D-Barrier, which was supposed to be for going first against Invoked and Pendulum Magician, but I didn't draw it against Pendulum Magician. I actually don't think I went first at all against Pendulum Magician, because I think I 2-0'd all the Pendulum Magician players that I faced, and I lost all 8 of my die rolls, and went second against all of them. Let's see. I have a paper here with my stuff written down on it. Let's see, round 6. Here it is. Yeah. Yeah, I did that. That's what happened. So we never ended up even citing this in against Pendulum Magician because we never went first against them. But we did cite it in against one Invoke player that we faced, and we did draw. Yeah, we did use it. I cited it against him even though I was going second. Just because I figured that it was going to be a bit of a more long, drawn-out game against him. So I wanted to, I figured it was going to go past my turn anyway. And it did, and it stopped him in his tracks. Cosmic Cyclone, for back row heavy decks, Paleo, which we never saw. I put in a lot of work against Pendulum Magician managing their scales. Dankos, we never saw Paleo, so we never cited these in. DD Crows for ABCs, True Dracos, and Spirals, we never saw it, even though we cited it in against all of them. How many times did we cite this card in? Let's count. Okay. Okay, we cited it in round 1, round 3, round 5, round 7, and round 8. And I also cited in against Invoke. We cited these two cards in 5 times, and we never saw them. So yeah, DD Crow, boo. Lancia, we never saw. I'm going to do that one last. Ghost Reapers, we never saw. Droll and Lockbird, we never saw. Although there wasn't a problem with one of my Drolls. I had these white sleeves, and I didn't notice that one of them was slightly different from the other. It wasn't noticeable from the back of the card, but it was technically speaking marked. But both of them weren't, and I'd never seen it all day, and the judges were very understanding. The judges were great. I want to put that out there. Even barring this, just like all day, they were fantastic. They all knew their rulings, which matters to me a lot, because I've been at like the discretion of a judge who doesn't know their rules before. Like, I've had judges that said that my opponent can activate Omega's effect to banish a card from my hand during the standby phase before. So, or activate breakthrough skill on the opponent's turn, So, it matters a lot to me when they know their stuff. But I didn't get a game loss, and I just had to change my sleeves, and it was all well and good, So, yeah. Then there was the last card, the MVP of the whole side deck, Effect Veiler. Every time I drew this card, I won. Every time I drew this card, I won. We cited this in against ABCs, because it hits the gadget on field. We cited it against Pendulum Magician, because it's Joker, and because it hits Harmonizing Magician. We cited this against... We basically cited this against everything other than Spiral, because Spirals can't be targeted. Like, it stops Paleo from getting their Ronin Toad into the grave. It's because it stops Swap Frog. It stops the Stratos of Dinos. It stops the Stratos of... It stops both Stratoses of Pendulum Magician. It stops Alistair. It was just fantastic. Yeah. It stops the Trickstar one that searches as well. Yeah, it was great. So, extra deck, standard, 3 ABC Dragon Busters, 1 Cherry's Target that we never got to use, 1 Proxy Dragon. We made this a couple times as a stepping stone to get to our 2 Decode Talkers. I made this more than I did at the regional. That being said, the second one should not be a Decode Talker. It should be like an Akashic Magician or another Cherry's target, but I hadn't done a ton of testing since the move was coming out. I didn't know what else to put there. But it really shouldn't be Decode Talker, the second one. I never needed it, never needed to go into it. Next up was Ancient Fairy Dragon, never went into it. But like at the regional, when I needed to go into it, it's when you need to go into this, you need to go into this or you will lose. So you have to have it. Because the situation does come up. Then we had the Utopia package, which we never made. Diamond Direwolf, we made this a bunch for the standard, pop itself, to pop the back row so that ABC can get out. We have Abyss Dweller here, which we never made. Castel, we made this twice. One time we actually shuffled back our Gameciel, and then drew it next turn to Gameciel them again, which was pretty funny. Yeah, both times that this came out, it was very clutch. Tornado Dragon, there were a couple instances where I just made this just because I was facing like Pendulum Magician or something. Like I evenly matched them and then I made Tornado Dragon and I just couldn't do anything. It was, I'd say it was about on par with Diamond Direwolf. Definitely has a more lasting impact than Diamond Dire. Although there was one instance with Diamond Dire where I popped Castel and then was able to use Diamond Dire's Wolf. I theoretically would have been able to use Diamond Direwolf's effect a second time, but I didn't need to. My opponent actually scooped on his turn when he saw his draw, because he knew he wasn't going to win. And then lastly, Bagusco, we made this twice. One time it won me the game. The other time... Oh, wait, no. Yeah. One time I made this against Spirals, and that won me the game, but I ultimately lost that match. The Bagusca... from the match that I lost, got Gameciel'd. So, yeah, that's the deck profile for my first ever YCS. Thanks for listening. Peace out.